And here we are. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Oh,
Hi,
good morning.
everybody.
Hi.
And
Welcome to the Coach's Corner this Sunday. We like to apologize for, a little bit of tardiness because of some technical difficulties on my behalf, but we're here to serve and provide some awesome material. I'm really excited about this one. It's always, I'm always grateful to be, in the presence of my colleagues here. And as we, oh, you can see my face. As we basically, introduce ourselves, I wanted to do something a little different.
Ooh.
Intuition spoke to me today. And in the US, we kind of have a holiday coming up, and it's about being thankful and being grateful. So as we kind of go around, if y'all are open to that, as we go around, we can say one thing that we're grateful for, and kind of spin off and share the importance of gratitude. Does that sound all right, everybody?
Absolutely.
sounds good.
Awesome. We good, Alicia?
Oh, yes.
She's in a
I
state of
was like,
gratitude.
oh, I'm so grateful that we'd figure out the technical problem that we have on the so we can be here of service for you all that are watching us or the replay. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, my name is Jamel Matias. I'm also a mindset success coach. I'm also a certified Proctor Gallagher consultant, and I'm in the Maryland area, so Washington D.C. and Maryland. And what I am grateful for is I would second Alicia being grateful that we're able to get on live today and just be here for you. And but also I have my little one. Her birthday is next week. So I'm grateful to celebrate. She's turning 6 and she's growing
Oh,
up way too fast. And I'm just grateful to be a father and be a good role model for her and just to celebrate her life and her wonderful charm. So I'll pass it on to Alicia.
Oh, yeah. So, Alicia Espinosa, I am in Sweden and I help people to create a life that feels good on the inside and not just look good from the outside. And I am a values and mindset coach, and I'm happy to be here. And I'm very very grateful that my son, he has been sick some days with high fever and so, and he's good now. So I'm so grateful for that. Thank you.
wonderful. Well, I'll go. Okay, so
Yeah,
my name is Lou Perica. I am also a success mindset mentor. I am located on the East Coast of United States. And what I do is I help people who really want to improve the quality of their life. I help them understand why and how they're getting their results and how to change them so they can be, do, and have better. I am extremely grateful for my colleagues to be here today, to be presenting information for those who are looking for answers. I'm so grateful for this material that we've learned because it has truly, truly changed my life. And there is a tremendous ripple effect because I show up better. So therefore, the people around me, they benefit because I'm in a good mood all the time now. So I'm very, very grateful for that.
Thank you, Lou. My name is Paul Wooters, and I'm in the Toronto, Ontario area. And I help people reach their most elusive personal and professional goals using this fabulous program that we have that Bob Proctor created with his partner, Sandy Gallagher, which uses science and psychology to do that and really helps us understand the mind. And when you understand your mind and how it works, that helps you make the breakthroughs that you really, really are looking for. And I'm very grateful for today, for the opportunities that I'm awarded, that I'm blessed with to restart, to grow, to continue on my path, on my journey of personal growth, and to share the wonderful wisdom and the insights that I have received through my mentors.
All right. I love it. Uh, this is so powerful what we're talking about today, and this shapes results, right, in life. And something's telling me, Lou, do you want to kind of just dive right in on this topic, and share a little bit the importance, just kind of you know, what we're talking about today and why we're here to share and what we're sharing today because it's so massive, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
yeah, please dive right in so
Thank you.
people can kind of dive
So
in.
today, so if you were with us, last week, or you caught the replay, we talked about the purpose of goals, not just any goal, but a worthy emotional goal, one that really spoke to you. So from there on, from today on, we're going to be teaching you how to actually achieve the goals. These are the process. And when you start to understand the creative process, you will start to see it will become so obvious to you that this process is the exact same process over and over and over. It doesn't matter who you are, where you came from, what your economic background is, none of that. It's always the same process. So this is what we're here to teach you in these calls. So today we're going to be starting with the knowing doing gap. And everyone can identify with this. And what I just want to give you a quick share is an example, and I use this quite a bit, is releasing weight. Now, some people don't need to. Majority of people, if this is always hovering on them, especially come the holidays, come the new year. And when you think about it, releasing weight is really a very simple process, right? You cut back on food, eat healthier food, make healthier choices, and you go for you get your blood pumping, you go exercise, go for a walk, go for a run, things like that. It's really very simple. But why is the diet industry a multi-billion dollar industry? We all know what we can be doing, but we're not doing it. We're looking for the magic pill, etc. So this is what today's call is about, is the knowing. We know we can be doing better. We could be doing better. We know we could be taking the actions that are necessary, but we're not doing it. And that gap, we call it the knowing doing gap, is really the deep-seated belief that you can release weight, that you are worthy of being healthy and feeling good. And that belief has really been programmed in us since we were babies. So that's what we're here to talk about today, is the knowing doing gap.
Thank you, Lou. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Amazing. So here's something to pose a question for the entire group here. Like, what do you believe is the single biggest reason, people stay stuck, in this knowing doing gap? Because we want to close that gap, right? So what is like the single biggest reason, we think that people stay stuck? Even when they're, aware of what they need to do. They know I should do this thing and it'll take me towards whatever result that we want, right? But how can they overcome what we know is what they're facing? Anybody want to kind of jump at that?
Sure. People intellectually know what needs to be done. But they have this emotional resistance to it. And because we're built for comfort rather than happiness, we want to stay. I mean, people say, you ask me, what do you want in life? And a lot of the answers will be, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. So, but they are emotionally stuck in their comfort zone. I came up with this really good quote. I was doing my studies this week, and it said, life is hard for two reasons, either because you're leaving your comfort zone or because you're staying in it. Right?
That's good.
Right? And both are difficult because when we when people are afraid of change. Why? Because it's giving up control, because that fear of the unknown, like what's going to happen. And so they'd rather be comfortable than cross that line. And, we've created these cages, these limiting beliefs for ourselves. And we're afraid to leave that cage, even though there's no lock on the door. But we've built the barriers for ourselves. And it's really, that fear, those limiting beliefs that we have, that programming that we have, that we're not good enough, or, we're going to fail, or that fear of failure, and what are other people going to say? And that it just really holds us back from taking the necessary steps that we need to take if we really want to achieve and become the person that we're designed to become, and that inherently we really want to, but we just sort of stay stuck.
Yeah, I love that. It reminds me of like identity, right? We are allowing our past to dictate our future. So we don't take certain actions that we know. Bob always said, knowing, right, is not enough, right? We have superior knowledge but inferior results. To change your results, action is required. And there's a beautiful quote that comes to mind. Look at intuition; it's already working. It said, law of attraction, right? Attraction has the word action in it. So you require action. The doing is just as important as the knowing, if not more, because you are doing something, like Paul mentioned, outside of your comfort zone, which is the growth that you've been seeking. Closing that gap between knowing and doing, and becoming. Because when you close that gap, you become the version of the goal achieved, right? So, yeah. Anybody else want to dive in on that question?
Yeah,
Thanks.
I was thinking that, these beliefs, this programming that we have, if it's for me, it's like a combination of the programming or the paradigms that we have, the beliefs that we have, that are not aligning with what we value. So we want something, we value something, that this is what I want, I value that, but the beliefs are not aligned with the values. So as Lou before, she said about the health. So if you have your value is health, but if you have a belief that for you it's difficult to lose weight or to release weight, because it's better to release weight in that lose weight, because our conscious mind is always looking for something that we lose, so it's better to release weight. But if your belief is like, oh, but I never will be able to release the weight, it's hard, it's difficult, it will create a conflicting with the values of health, and that I want to work with my health. The health is, for me, is important. I asked a client one day, she told me that, oh, health is so important to me. And then we was looking for what she was doing. She wasn't even taking 5,000 steps. So for me, it was like, okay, you want to have a good health, but you are not, because the paradigm that she had is that it was difficult for her, and she came with so many stories for why she cannot release the weight. And it's why it's better, like, you believe the stories that you tell you, and then you get frustrated in that gap, knowing what to do but not doing that.
Yeah. And also, so as we mentioned, the paradigm. So what we may have talked about it a little bit last week, but the paradigm is your deep-seated, rooted programming. It's your beliefs, it's your habits. It controls logic, it controls how you think, how you feel, it controls your emotional reaction, it controls the identity that you believe who you are, your self-image, and so much more. So that programming is already been set. Mind set. It's like a thermostat, mind set. So we have to learn how the mind works. We don't have to go on this treasure hunt for like, oh, why? But to understand the mechanics of the mind, why the programming is there, and how are we able to shift it? Because just because consciously you want to release weight, or consciously you want to build your business, or consciously you want to find the love of your life, your deep-seated programming is running the show. And we are doing things unconsciously 96 to 98% of our day. That's where the majority of our results come from, because we are unconsciously moving throughout the day. And this is why with Jamel last week, he pulled out his goal card, right? Because we always need to be reminded of our goal. We have to keep it top of mind, because if not, the old habits and the way we behave just kick in. That's what we're doing all day long. So that's why it's so important to be not only consciously aware of what it is that we want, but start being consciously aware of how we are behaving. How are we showing up every day? But it takes effort. See, thinking takes effort, right? Your conscious mind is the thinking mind. That takes effort to think. The subconscious mind is efficiency. You don't really have to think. Everything's already been programmed. You can go on the rest of your life just doing as you're doing. It's already been programmed. But you have to decide up here that you want change. It's all up to you. It's your journey, your life. But just know we all have the ability to do it. This is why we are the highest form of creation. So understanding how this works will make your life so much better.
Yes, yes, I love that. Well said. Let's talk about the paradigm a little bit, because that reminded me of how it's formed. A lot of us don't understand the power of it, and Lou did a great job sharing. All of us did, sharing how powerful the paradigm can be, and how manipulative and how deceiving it can be. It's there without any conscious awareness. So it's in your subconscious, right? Even the way you think, certain concepts you think about, your own belief system is part of the paradigm. So it's formed usually from birth up until around maybe 7 years old. When your environment, your parents, schools or whatever, within those years, everything around you is going right into your subconscious. If you have bullies at school telling you you were short, I was a little kid, and I was shorter than the other kids. But imagine how that could impact someone, subconsciously, maybe even monetarily, money. Maybe you're from a low income family and you're not used to seeing certain amounts of money and material things, stuff like that. So imagine that's going into your subconscious. So usually after 7 or 8, you start developing consciousness of yourself. So that's when there's a shift. But you have all this programming that is part of your life until adulthood, until you revisit it, and this is so powerful because we all have been shaped this way, right? And this applies to every human being. And something I wanted to add, the body is an instrument of the mind. So the doing, taking action, us showing up to present, us with our studies, whatever we know we should do, right? That basically has to be in your subconscious because the body expresses what's there. And sometimes you have to take the action in order for your mind to catch up, because it kind of works in reverse, right? When you just do the action, you feel good. I did that. I did it today. So taking the action, defines your future, because you're interacting, with the physical plane, and you want physical results from the, physical world, right? So the body is an instrument of the mind, and it always starts in the mind. Because Lou, you inspired me to kind of share that, when you're explaining that. So just wanted to, give a little bit more about how paradigms are formed and how you can change it, right? Change is inevitable, but personal growth is a choice. So choose to change how you've been thinking. Very, very important. Does anybody want to kind of add on to that?
I'll go.
Yeah, I think that you're right, Jamela. But what happens, what people get a little bit stuck, because change represents something dangerous or scary. Because again, it means getting out of your comfort zone, doing something different, and and trying to shock yourself into a new life isn't going to work. And that's why it doesn't, right? That's why people, they try to make these big changes, maybe at New Year's or resolution or something like that, and then it just wanes because they're trying to shock themselves into it. But it's a little bit of a process where you have to take, these action steps, but they don't have to be huge, because then you're setting yourself up for failure. Like if I said, okay, I'm going to start running, and it's not something I normally do, and so tomorrow I'm going to go and run for half an hour. Well, you're setting yourself for failure, because you won't do it, right? You'll quit on that. So you have to start, incrementally, and give yourself something that's achievable, and then you can create momentum and energy by creating like actionable steps that are achievable for you in the short term. And then you just gain momentum, you gain energy, and then it just becomes bigger and bigger and easier to do.
Yeah, I love that. It's taking small pieces, right?
Yeah.
Taking that first little step. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you live in a house or in a apartment, if you need to do some preparation in the house, you start with something that is the most important room to change. You don't start to move everything everywhere, because then it's so difficult. You then decide like, oh no, this is the best room to start. And sometimes people, when they start a change, they meet something that we call the river of change. At the beginning it's uncomfortable, and then it's chaotic in the middle, but oh boy, it's so nice at the other side of the river. But people just dip the toe and say, oh no, this is so uncomfortable, and then they quit, not because it's right, but because it's so familiar.
Hmm.
I know what I have just now, but I don't know what is in the other side of the river. So they go back
That's right.
and then get stuck, still back in the uh, in the mindset, limiting beliefs that they have. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I love Dr. Bruce Lipton said, show me the boy, show me a 7-year-old boy, and I will show you the man. Because like I think Jamel was saying, the first 7 years of our life are extremely impressionable, right? The conscious mind, which is the thinking mind, which is the mind that can accept or reject ideas, isn't really developed yet. So the child is taking in everything, recording everything from their environment. They're watching and learning and experiencing how people interact with one another. Are they loving to one another? Are they kind to one another? Or are they observing people yelling at each other, reacting at one another? That you mentioned income. What was the money? What was the financial situation at home? All of these things are being recorded. The child is learning how to judge, how to be biased, how to react, all of these things. And as we get to become adults, this is already a blueprint, it's already a pattern. So, what has happened is just like Alicia was saying, it becomes like an electric fence in our backyard. And every time we want to get out of our backyard, We want to grow and be bigger and do better and have better. Zzz, we're getting zapped because the paradigm, it's impersonal. It's just a program, but it was programmed to keep you in a certain way. And this is that self-image that we'll be talking about and really diving deep into. So you really believe all that electric fence is really our limiting beliefs. And we know that there's so much more to life outside of our backyard. That's where adventure really takes place. But in order, you had mentioned, Paul and Alicia, doing small steps. Absolutely, right? Incremental steps, if that's, but some people can take big jumps. But what we need to first do is be the person that already has the goal achieved. We actually have to shift our identity and say, you know what? The old me who lived within my backyard that had this electric fence around me, that is no longer serving me. It got me up to this point. I love her. Thank you so much. Thank you for the experiences because they have all shaped and molded me. My story, how I grew up, shaped and molded me. But now I want to shape and mold myself. So if I want to be, do, and have better and have more, I need to work on myself and who I think I am. And then if I want to run a marathon, I'm not going to go out and run 10 miles the first day if I've never run before. But I may start by running around the block. But I have to impress that image in my subconscious mind saying, hey, Lou, the one that used to like to stay on the couch all day, you're gone. You're gone. And Lou, the marathon runner, you're taking over. So how does she think? What are her habits? Right? How is her discipline? So I need to first become her in my mind. And this is why with the releasing weight or whatever it is that we want to do, if we still have that image of being overweight, I can never release weight. Diets don't work for me. I was always picked on when I was a kid. All the other girls or the guys were better looking than me, blah, blah, blah. All that story is confining you in your backyard. Mm-hmm. So we have to create the new image, the higher version of us, not someone else. I don't want to be some marathon person. I want to be Lou, and bring out the best of Lou to become the person who runs whatever, a marathon.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love the fence, the electronic fence. Now I love that. Very visual. You know, I forgot to mention, you know, for everyone on the platforms that are viewing, feel free to drop some comments or questions that we would love to kind of address and highlight here, because this is all related material. And speaking on what has been shared so far, this is why mentorship is so important. You know, you doing this type of personal development on your own, the paradigm is a very big, what do you call it? It's basically a big bully that's trying to stop you from your greater self, your highest self, right? So doing this with like-minded people, positive people that want more and that are, you know, basically breaking through these knowing doing gaps or closing them, you know, you are around individuals that are forward moving and forward thinking instead of relying on the old past comfortable self. You know, no more results that we don't want. You know, we choose the results we want and we take action towards them. So this is why mentorship is so important. And that's why we're here, you know, to kind of share this beautiful material. So here's a question for everybody. Why do you think some people are able to break through the knowing doing gap quickly while others struggle for years? What makes the difference? And feel free, anybody wants to kind of reply on that.
I think people who struggle are without a really clear purpose, and they lack that focus and motivation And that makes it harder to take consistent action, whereas the people with a clear emotional why, they're highly motivated to act. Action, the action takers, they prioritize, taking action or the execution over perfection. They focus on getting started, then rather than waiting for the right time. Waiting for that right time. When's the right time? When's the right time? Well, now is the right time. There's never a better time than right now. But overthinking, Bob used to say this, people get caught in analysis paralysis. They have to have all the how's it going to work? What's going to happen when I do this? And they're trying to figure it out, and they're writing it down. They're going it over in their heads, and they're thinking about all the things that will go wrong and what will happen and all that sort of thing. And then people get stuck. They struggle with that fear of failure, and they equate that failure with personal inadequacies. If I fail, then I'm inadequate, and that just reinforces their disempowering beliefs in themselves, and they hesitate to act more. They avoid taking risks because, hey, I'm going to fail, I'm going to look bad, I'm going to feel bad. But other people who don't struggle, who break through, they look at failure as feedback. That's feedback to them, and it's not a setback. And that feedback gives them information on how to better move forward. How they can do things a little bit differently. What worked, what didn't work. How can I tweak that? Rather than getting stuck and looking at failure as, okay, that's it. I tried that once. It didn't work out. I felt like crap. I think people are looking at me, laughing at me, pointing at me, when they're really not. It's just your own paradigm, as Lou said. It's your own personal thoughts that's, holding you back. It's yourself. It's yourself that's holding it back, even though it's not really good for you. You stay, you kind of stick with it because that's where you're comfortable. Yeah. So you really need that clarity of purpose, and really define your why. And that why has to line up with you emotionally and with your core values. And if you don't have that, then you're kind of lost, and you don't really know which way to go or where to start or how to start. And you're afraid to start. So you really have to have that why. Why are you doing this? And get really emotionally invested in that why.
Yeah, I also agree with that. And what I have seen is that when the people that quickly go through this, the decision making is based more on values, inspiration, or intuition. Like Lou did this intuition. Let's do this together. It was an intuition decision making. So there are different decision makings that we people do. The first is the one, the animalistic, the instinct is more like you fly, freeze, or disappear right away. This is one of the decision making. And then the next level is the subconscious decision making, but it's based on what our beliefs are or paradigms. And then we have the conscious decision making, but still the conscious decision making almost are based on something that has happened before. Oh, maybe I do this because I know that before I did that. Or no, I cannot do that. I cannot start that because I don't know how to do that. And then the next level of decision making is the values decision making, that is more based on what is important to you, and be more aligned with your values instead of aligned with your limiting beliefs. Because it's what happens when you don't take action, is that you are aligned with you're having a loving affair with limiting beliefs. And then you get the intuition decision making that comes when you are living according to your values and you are aligning your soul with your actions. What your soul is telling you, this is what I want. And then it's inspiration. So when you take action, it's our inspired actions, not the limiting beliefs that we have. So I believe that people that are more fast doing this, more quickly doing this, is just because they they are alignment with their values and intuition and inspiration.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love that. Lou, did you want to add on to
I
question?
think I just piggyback on with both what everyone has said is really having clarity. You have to really get clear on what it is that you truly want. And I think also, Paul had mentioned this, failure is just feedback, but also if we learn to give ourselves a break, stop being so hard on ourselves, let's start changing our language. Instead of saying failure, because the word failure has this image, but if we just say it was an experience, I've even let go of my story. I don't even say I have a story anymore, because that story is chaining me to some sort of image and experiences that I've had. I just simply call them experiences. So when I mention that they're experiences, my life just gets easier, because every one of us, I do this. We're like feeling our way through, right? Life. We never knew how to be maybe a spouse or a partner or a parent, or like I'm now older, so I've never been a mother-in-law before. I've never been a grandmother before. So I'm kind of figuring out as I go along on my journey. So I think what can make the difference, why people um, can break through these things, is again being very clear, but also just loving yourself and understanding you are figuring it out. That's what the human experience is all about. You're here to experience. So when you fall down, you're like, ooh, that really hurt. I don't think I like that. Well, next time, let me be a little bit more careful, or make me a little bit more aware of what I'm doing, or where I'm walking, because it's just feedback. They're
Mm,
not failures. They're not like you're not good enough. You can't do anything right. Everyone's laughing at you, blah, 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 blah. They're just my own little experiences for my own little journey that I am creating. So when you go in with that kind of attitude, who cares what everyone's, because everyone's on their very own journey. And you learn to love yourself, and don't be hard on yourself. Just say, hey, that's okay. It was just something else to learn. Awesome. It's always an opportunity to grow.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And to piggyback on everything that was shared, Edison just keeps jumping in my mind, right?
Mhm.
I only failed so many times to success, basically. And
Yeah.
Bob always shared, you only a failure is when you quit, is when you stop. Failing is getting you closer to whatever goal that you want, because you took that action, and we had technical difficulties, right? So that's a so-called failure, right? But we didn't stop, right? So that's a prime example. And what I like to do, Alicia reminded me, you have to fall in love with the goal, with whatever you're deciding in your life, because you have to get very clear in your mind. This is the thing that I choose, and this is what I want, regardless of anything. For next year or for before the end of the year, this is what I'm striving towards every day. You fall in love with it. And how do you do that? Impress the subconscious mind. So over and over, you visualize, like, who are the people around you in that moment once you achieve it. What are you wearing? Who you're hugging, and or where are you physically? Or what's in your bank account, or what do you do that day, you really go there over and over in your mind, and you're falling in love with it. You're getting emotionally involved with that moment. And it's very unique to you because you know what it looks like. This is you getting clear in your imagination. So I fall in love with my goal every day, multiple times, because it realigns me with who I am, and it forces my body to do things I usually don't want to do. But I know that's my old self, my old paradigm saying, Jamel, you're going to be tired when you get off that live or whatever, right? No, I'm not listening to you because I release energy. I'm receiving more energy. I have more energy to power an entire country for a week, right? So these are things I tell myself, and I believe it. I'm falling in love with who I become, whom I'm becoming, who I am now, right?
Mhm.
So it's so important to know where you're headed, because the gap closes. And when you do this repeatedly, I do it multiple times a day, because you do one task and sometimes you don't want to do anything else the rest of the day. The more you do it, the more you're attracting it, and your body just naturally expresses itself. So like when you say, Bob said, stand up, you don't try to stand up. Your body either does it or it doesn't, right? So, the body has to express what's in the mind. So that's so important to be clear on your goal. And like Alicia said, fall in love. What are you falling in love with? Your goal or the lack mindset of your old self, your limiting beliefs, right? It's a daily thing. What are we choosing? There's always a choice, but always give yourself self-love, empower yourself. I can do this. I will do this. I have all the power in the universe. I'm special. I'm more than, I'm worthy. Psych yourself out, pour in that love, because if you don't love yourself, who else will, right? It starts with you loving yourself. Go ahead, Alicia. I know you
Yeah.
had.
No, it remember me something that sometimes or we start to defend our limiting belief.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
It's like defending all the time. Yeah, but I'm like this, and uh, sometimes I ask my client when one client says, yeah, but I am not like that. So okay, when you decided that you were not like that, it was when they took out you from your mother's tummy, and they did in your back, and then you're screaming, and the nurse say, oh, but this person is good communicator, or this person is not good at that, sometimes we decided that is me, and then we, even if it's a limiting belief, we love defending that. And it's like David said about our language, like is how we ourselves, we talk about comfort zone, and then we can literally be killing us with language. You never will eat a moldy tomato, but for some reasons we eat a moldy limiting beliefs all the time. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. See, the mind, yeah, well, that's when you start to understand that the mind is just a process. It's just a process made of thought, and it can be a blessing and a curse. So when you believe those thoughts, that's when it's not serving you. But here's the thing, we have the power to redirect that thought energy and place it on thoughts that make us feel empowered. See, the goal is just a measurement, but it's being that person, being the person with whatever, a healthy body, being the person in a fabulous relationship, being the person that can work from home, have a successful business, work from home, and travel all around the world. It's being that person. We need to step into that energy, step into those shoes. And when you become that identity, again, it's not someone else, It's your identity, just a higher version. There's so many versions of us that are just laying dormant, and that's what the goal does. The goal is bringing it out. The goal is waiting for you. It's there.
See, look at that. That's the paradigm trying to freeze Lou.
For
Did we
the,
lose?
yeah,
Did
you
we
just
lose?
froze for a minute, but
When you think about every decision we make opens a new door, opens another door, opens another door, opens another door. But it's that decision that we're stepping through the new door. So that's what the goal does. Again, it's just bringing out different versions of us, but they all exist within us, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I
yeah,
love that.
too many people like identify with their past, right? They carry their story and they identify with that. And as Alicia said, you could move, you can change locations, but you carry your beliefs with you. And you'll go to great lengths to defend those beliefs. And too many people spend too much time thinking about their past and identifying with a person that they were. That's the who you were. So you have to, as Lou said, have to identify with the person who already lives with that desired outcome that you want. It's not about finding yourself. This is your opportunity. Like I said, I'm grateful for today because you have an opportunity to create a better version of yourself, a higher version of yourself, not the person I was yesterday, not the person I was 10 years ago. And I have this story and, oh, listen to my story. And this is why I'm the way I am. Yeah, sure. Everything that happened to you brought you to where you are right now. So you're in the perfect spot right now. And now is the time, and so, adopt habits that align with that identity of the person that you want to be, that you want to become, with the desired outcomes that you have. And as Jamel said, Edison said he didn't fail 10,000 times. He just found 10,000 ways it didn't work. So now he knows, right? Now it didn't work that way, it didn't work that way. So I will keep going. And Winston Churchill said, failure is jumping from, or success is jumping from failure to failure, or something like that, right? To success, right? So you just, that's just feedback. You're just finding ways that it didn't work. So if you don't like the word failure, as Lou said, okay, it's an experience. So it's just a learning experience. It's not a failure if you learn something from it. But if you repeat it, okay, well, then that's not a good idea. But if you learn something from it and extract and apply it, it's a real, it's a real part of success.
Yeah, thank you, Paul, for remembering that quote exactly. So I appreciate that. So this is a perfect time for us to kind of be vulnerable and uncomfortable. Here's a question for all of us to share, and I'm sure we're excited to be uncomfortable right here on camera. If we're giving you, our experience, because we're human beings as well. So, what was your biggest non-productive activity? And it's polar opposite, basically your productive activity you have achieved replacing it, or that you're currently working on. So whoever wants to be uncomfortable first, by all means.
I can do that. I can do that. Yeah. One of the things that I had, one of the non-productive actions that I had was the overconsumption, consumption of material. And because I was bullied when I was a child, I had a need to be liked. So I was over consuming material, trainings, videos, webinars before I was taking action, because I was like, oh, but I need to know something more because maybe they don't like me. So I have two conflicting values. One of my values are highest values is to learn. But when you have too much of the good, is also limiting, because I was consuming, and not taking action because my value of being liked. So it's like my creativity was not blooming because of that. So I needed to decide, okay, there are people that they will not like me, and it's okay. So I decided this now, and then I set a rule for me, a standard, that whenever I get an idea to do something, I get at least or no more than 24 hours to do something, because before my limiting beliefs start to talking to me and get me out of that. I decided that in order to swim, it will not help me to be in the edge of the pool. I need to jump into the water and learn to swim. So that was a big issue for me at the beginning of this journey. I still learn a lot all the time, but now with my standard, I take action right away. So I'm learning to swim. I'm learning to swim. I'm learning to swim. I need to into the water to do that. Yeah.
Congratulations on that. Yes, congrats.
I have a small one, and it was small, but it was huge. So, I wanted to make all these changes, and I got into this material, and I wanted to incorporate, study time and doing gratitude and doing all these things and incorporating all these different habits. And, I wasn't a person who like arrived late for work. I got to work on time and everything like that. But incorporating these, how I already have a busy day and a busy schedule. How am I going to squeeze all this stuff in without really knocking myself out? And so a bad habit that I had, I looked at all, okay, I had to look at, what are my non-productive habits? What are my productive habits? And one that really started the ball rolling and really produced a domino effect was going to bed at a better time. So I started, and I got this from a fellow that I was mentoring. He had an idea that he set an alarm for when it was time to go to bed. We have an alarm when to get up, but he set an alarm when it's time to start going to bed. And, like I was just staying up too late. And again, I did get up. I wasn't, late for work or anything like that, but everything was kind of hurried. So I got up and okay, it's time to go, and time to get going and get everything going. And I got lots of stuff done, yeah, but I wasn't getting it done as effectively or as well as I could, really. And when I was doing something at 10 o'clock in the morning, my mind was at, what I need to be doing at 4 o'clock, or what I need to be doing later on in that day. And it was all kind of scattered. And I was pushing things aside. I was procrastinating on things. I was shuffling things. Okay, I'm not going to get that done today. I'll do it tomorrow. And it just wasn't as effective as I could be. And I wasn't, allowing time to incorporate these new habits. So that little thing, and it just was like, okay, I'm not going to go to bed 2 hours earlier, but just like we're talking about taking, small steps. So, okay, I'll start going to bed half an hour earlier, and I'll get up half an hour earlier. And maybe I'll start reading for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And maybe I'll just, start, doing 10, 15 minutes of activity and exercise and just get myself moving. And it just had this calming effect. And my day seemed to have got off to a really good start. And I felt good about that. And feeling good about that gave me the energy and momentum to go on to the next task. And I was much more clear in my head about the next task. And that just created a really nice, like I said, a domino effect throughout the day. And, man, it was a real change. It was a real game changer because, then I'd increase. Then I could, instead of getting up half an hour earlier, I could get up an hour earlier eventually, right? And those habits they just gave me a lot of momentum and gave me a lot of better energy. And I just felt better about myself. And then Lou said, you have to be not so hard on yourself. So I would do all these things where I was hurried throughout the day, And then I have this really negative self-talk and really beating myself. Why did you do that? Why didn't you get up like you said you would? And all this sort of thing, right? And was really, really hard on myself. But now I had reason to feel good about myself, and I could reflect back on my day and think about the good things that I did. And that just set me up for a better day the next day as well.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, Paul. Yeah, congrats. I love that. I can relate to it. But I'll let Lou go first.
So probably like all of us, when we started delving into this material, it was a total game changer, right? And we were like, oh my God, and we were telling everybody, and we were probably losing people left and right because no one wanted to hear about it. But I really wasn't implementing that much. I was so absorbed in just learning. But now, over the past maybe couple of years, I've been learning more and more because I was looking at what I wanted to do, but what I was actually doing or not doing, right? So I really learned to structure my day. When I say structure, I don't want it to sound rigid, but I will tell you, structure does, for me, bring clarity. When I get up in the morning, I have my rituals. I do them every day, come back, have my breakfast, shower, that. And then I have my focus sprints. I think I mentioned them the other day. I'm in the now. When I'm doing my activities, I'm in the now because I know I don't have power in the past and I know I don't have power in the future. My power is in the now. And it's just like going to a football game. You see some people that are just spectators. They go, oh, that was a great game. Then you see the people who paint themselves, right? And they're like, they are really in the spirit of the game, right? And the team feeds off that energy. So I do my best. Am I always showing up like that when I'm doing my activity? No, not all the time. But I do want to get myself into, be in that spirit when I'm taking my activity. So while I'm doing it, I'm thinking about the people that I can have an impact on. I'm thinking about the lives that I can change, and I'm thinking how good I feel being a messenger, right? So these things, I had to get out of my comfort zone because I just wanted to write a post on Facebook and say, okay, I'm done, right? So making a video, going on Facebook, doing this, these are all things that getting out of my comfort zone. But I'm doing it, and I love the support that because we all know, like, doing things on your own, you can feel isolated, and then this starts, right? And we're like, shoo, go away. So, surround yourself with people who will inspire you, encourage you, support you, direct you, because it's a pretty big world out there, and most of the world are conformed, and they're doing what everyone else is doing. So you want to go with the small percentage that are going the other way and creating their own path, a new path, not a well-worn path. So that's what I'm doing. I've learned to write out my day the night before, my activities that I need, and just get to it.
Yes, congratulations too. Getting out your comfort zone and being so structured. I love that. Paul kind of took mine, but it's very similar. As I look back, as you learn more about yourself, you look at your life, even from early years. And I remember probably middle school, I would stay up late. At that time it was video games or listening to the radio or whatever I was reading at the time. And that carried on to high school and then college. And then even in my adult life, I would stay up really late, knowing I had to go to work early in the morning. So obviously those habits, are difficult to change sometimes, especially when you're doing it unknowingly. So this material, doing this professionally, helping people with this material, you're learning yourself, and then you can see things differently in other people. And I didn't realize that staying up late didn't allow me to be as who I am now, where I'm up early, I'm studying, I'm doing gratitude, I'm doing mirror work. I created so many habits because I knew that one little thing, if I changed, you know, I would own the day. And I remember that how you start the day is how you own the day. So instead of, I'm part of the 6 a.m. club, I'm up studying and also not only studying, but figuring out what to do to increase my service, to increase whatever I need to do to become that version. It just starts coming to me so much. And I'm grateful that I have shifted staying up late for no reason. You even start to really think about it. I set an alarm to go to bed. I do that. My phone will give me a chime and said, "Oh, time to go to bed." So now I'm aware of my cool down. I get to bed so I can probably read and do some affirmations and stuff like that, prepare my subconscious. So these are huge shifts. That one little thing, there's a lot of other things affected with it, by going to sleep early and waking up early. So, I'm just grateful to reflect and to be where I am now and know what I'm becoming, you know. Yeah. So we got an exercise for you, to kind of tie in everything that was shared. Again, this is why mentorship is so important. We're all here to help you. We definitely want to see you succeed and grow into the higher version that you're meant to be. You're not in this alone. And, we all have tremendous experience here, and life experience. And we want to help you with this. So as you probably see, reach out to any of us. We have our call link, schedule a free complimentary call today. We're here for you. Okay, so let's give them an exercise. Lou, did you want to do that, or you want me to kind of share that? It's up to you.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
So we have the action alignment exercise. So what we want you to do is take a blank piece of paper and draw 2 columns. On one of the columns, write what I could be doing. I crossed out the word should because we're always shoulding on ourselves, right? So what I could be doing. And on the other column, what you're actually doing. All this does is gives you the opportunity to look at your action steps objectively, right? You're just actually seeing on paper what you could be doing, what you already know you could be doing, and what you actually are doing. So this gives you breathing room to see it on paper and understand, okay, changes need to be made if I want X, Y, and Z. See, and this is why the want is so important. Um, in the first column, the could be, list 3 to 5 actions that you know would move you closer to your goal. Okay, and again, let's just use the example of releasing weight. You could get up a little bit earlier, go for a walk, maybe have whatever, a nice, healthy breakfast, right? So write down like 3 to 5 action steps that you know will get you closer to the goal. In the second column, write down the corresponding actions that you're actually taking. So let's say, again, releasing weight, you're getting up at whenever, you're grabbing whatever out of the cabinet or out of the refrigerator. You come up with an excuse why you don't have time to go for a walk, right? Like you defend your excuses. I remember someone saying, you become a prosecuting attorney against yourself, right? Like, I want to do this. Well, what you can't do it because. So write down the corresponding things and then ask yourself, why am I not taking these actions? What are the fears, the habits, or beliefs that are actually holding me back? Just get honest with yourself and do this in a quiet environment. I always like to, I come in my own little office here and I'll put on some soft music, and just because no, this is just for you. No one else is going to look at it. This is just for you. Okay, so write down what those fears and habits are. And then, like my colleagues were saying, one small step. Choose one item that from the could column and commit to taking that. Make it a doable step. If you know you could, let's say, for an example, follow up with clients. All right. I work with many realtors, and that phone becomes like, so heavy, right? So if you know you could do that, decide a focus sprint and just start with one. Start with one person, one prospect. Just call to say hello, right? Start with baby steps. Build up your confidence and know that you can do these things, right? And the part with all your fears and habits and the things that you were doing that are not serving you, you're so done with them. Rip them up. Rip that stuff up. You're done. Make a decision today, right now. Your power is in the now, not yesterday and not tomorrow. You get to decide right now the life that you want to live. All right. So, I mean, all of us have done this exercise and we continue because as we grow, new paradigms pop up that we may not have even realized that they were there. And we see it in our actions, and we absolutely see it in our results. And we go, feedback, feedback. It's time to make a shift.
Mhm.
Thank you, Lou. That was excellent. The power is in the now. So what do
Mhm.
you do at this moment? You know? So, but yeah, any last words with anybody? You know, this has been a great another call. We're here
Yeah.
next Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm grateful, be a part of this. So thank you for having me. And I'm glad we're able to share all of our experiences and knowledge with everyone. So anybody want to, are we good?
I
I'd
just
like
want to
to
say
say,
one quick thing. Oh,
go ahead.
that this, just so people know that these Sunday calls will be, they're scheduled for about 12 weeks. We may go a little bit longer, but just so you have some sort of an idea. And also, Alicia speaks several languages, but she coaches in Alicia.
Spanish, English, and Swedish.
Okay, hello. So I thought that was, I mean, that's incredible. But for the people out there looking, right, that you can help in different language.
Thank you. Yeah.
I was just going to say the one big key takeaway I think is just to focus. It can be very overwhelming, but set yourself up for success. So just do one micro shift at a time, something that you can achieve. So don't go out and run 5 miles if you've never run 5 miles. You don't have to get up an hour earlier. Maybe you want to stop scrolling as soon as you wake up. So maybe you have a book beside your bed that something like a personal development field book, and read one page or read for 10 minutes, right? And then build on that momentum, because eventually that 10 minutes will go into 15. It will evolve into 20 minutes. You'll go from reading one page to reading another page. If you go for a walk for 10 minutes, in a little while that 10 minutes will become 15 minutes. And you just have to set yourself up for success by just focusing on a small micro shift that you can achieve, and then build on that momentum and energy.
And what I wanted to say is that when you start doing this exercise, maybe you will get some guilty or shame feelings but it's just say, okay, up to now I was this, but now I'm going to do this.
Mhm.
And I believe, I normally say that this is like learning a new language. You are not a dumb just because you didn't know this a language. For example, I am from Panama. I am in Sweden. When I came to Sweden, I didn't speak Swedish at that time. I wasn't dumb or something like I just not knew that language. And now I have the possibility to decide when to use that language. So it's a learning process. So be aware of that.
Mm. And I'd just like to add, get clear on your goal. Get clear on where you're headed in life and what you want to achieve, because the body takes the actions naturally the more you're emotionally involved with the goal. You automatically start doing things you never done before because you're excited. You're allowing that goal to, you're embodying it. You're feeling the energy of it. I'm all about energy, and I didn't realize it until, doing more work on myself. The body, you'll do it when you'll take action you normally don't take when you're extremely tired, but it doesn't feel like you're tired because your body, do the thing and the thing will give you energy, right? So when you're clear in your mind where you're going, your body naturally knows what to do. Like, how to walk. The body will lift its leg, one leg, then the next leg, right? And your bodies will naturally move in sequence with your legs. It naturally moves because you're going from point A to point B. So you got to know what that point B is, right? So and love it. I look at my goal every time and it tells me, oh, Jamel, get off the couch, buddy. It's time to stop reading. Time to do this, And that's just something that just kind of spoke to me, that helped me in my journey, with this material. So as you can tell, we're all here to help. Reach out to us today. You're not by yourself, and the power is in the now. Don't put this off. Why wait? Why wait? So this has been awesome.
Yeah.
Saturday.
I just noticed, I was trying to put my Calendly link in the comment section and it won't do it. So I think we have to go individually, perhaps, in our, wherever it's streamed.
Yeah, let's talk off camera about that. You'll probably be happy what I have to share. So,
Okay.
but,
All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for being here. Greatly appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you soon.